Stupid. Hey guys, it's Rachel
and Azalee,
and today we are bringing story time.
These are the first of many videos, and these are going to be experiences that have happened to us. We just wanted to say we're sorry for not having done videos like these past 2 months really often because
we've been busy.
We've been having complications with everything, and it's been crazy. It's like, okay, but anyway,
let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay, so this story,
church camp,
and they scared the crap out of
so
girls.
Keep in mind that this is a Christian church camp. We're in our dorm.
It's the teen girls.
Yeah, they all just got done preaching, and we went to the canteen, got some food, got back in our dorm, hanging out on our beds.
And this is like midnight.
Yeah, it's probably like 1 maybe.
Yeah, 1 at the latest. Yeah.
So every night we have a devotion. We are called for devotion. We sit all around. So she talks, gives her devotion, we pray. Then at the end she gives little announcements and everything.
Yeah. The lady that gave the announcement, she just stood up and she got really calm. She's like, okay, this team so-and-so is going to clean tonight. And I just wanted to say, we're going to go to bed in about 15 minutes. But no matter what, don't look out the windows at all. And just listen to whatever I say, do whatever I say, and don't look outside. And all the girls just started
like we were wondering, but we really didn't think anything that big. Because the guys, they always have devotion in the chapel because it's teen guys and younger boys in the same dorm. Where with us, it's all teen girls in our dorm. So they always go to the chapel. So we were like, oh, well, I guess they're spending the night in the chapel or sleeping outside. That's what the rumor was around the dorm. Mm-hmm. So we were just like, okay, well, we're not allowed to look out the window. That's cool.
Yeah. I was on the team that had to go clean the bathrooms that night. And we walked in there, and we were sort of sitting there, and I'm like, okay, that was weird. I was talking to some of the people, and more people started coming in. We just had, like, this circle of about 6 girls, and we just started, like, talking about how weird that was, and that people were starting to, like, spread, like, little conspiracies around. It was, like, probably only, like, 5 minutes after she made that announcement. Like, why can't we look out the windows? We want to know. And then one of the counselors walked in, and I was like, hey, what's the whole thing? We saw the counselors go near the door, and we're sitting, and they're talking in, like, a little circle. And she's like, oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. Just don't worry about it. And I asked her again, and we were all sitting there, like, what's wrong? And she's like, it's nothing.
So
by that time, we all started getting sort of
mad. And then, so me and a bunch of girls, since our team didn't have to clean the bathroom, we were all just sitting on our bed. We were like, because like everyone was getting freaked out. So I went up to one of the counselors that I was very familiar with. I was like, hey, are we gonna die? Just tell me straight up, and I won't tell anyone. I just want to know if I'm gonna die. And she's like, I don't know what's happening. And she's like all scared, and she was about to cry. I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
and
she's
then
about to cry.
I had walked out of the bathroom and back to our beds because we were sort of bunked together with a bunch of friends. And I walked back, and I heard one of the other adults walk by, and she's like, she sounded scared on the phone. She's like, I don't know what's happening. She was talking on the phone, like she's just like pacing back and forth, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, okay. But this is just weird. Really weird.
So I walked over there because we were all like on the same bed. We all just sat together because we were getting kind of creeped out and like what's going on. And then so I went and followed her because I was eavesdropping on her phone call. and like I saw the contact name. She was like, you need to come here now. And she kept on calling him. She was scared.
Mm-hmm. After that little devotion I finished, we heard this big truck or whatever zoom past.
Yeah.
We don't even know what it was. And that part actually wasn't planned, I guess you could say. It just roared by, and so that's what also everyone was like, okay, there's like someone outside. And then back by the I think it was one of the counselors or something, they were saying like the jail is not too far away from here because literally the county jail or like
right across the street.
And we were sitting there like, okay, this is getting sort of weird. We went back, we started talking, and we're like, okay, some people are starting to talk about it. It's probably like some robber got loose and like they're on the campgrounds. They want everyone to stay put. We're sitting there like, oh gosh.
After that, people, like all the guys came out.
And then there was this one girl.
When we were all sitting on the bed, she's like, I just heard that ISIS was attacking
this part of where we live. Yeah. And then everyone else started getting all freaked out and whatever. And then all of a sudden, one of the counselors, she got up and she's like, we're all sitting there like talking about ISIS or whatever, and she hears some we hear a knock on the door, like a bang, like, I don't know, it's just a bang.
When I heard the banging, we were just like getting really creeped out, and the counselor's like, you heard that? And we're like, yeah, someone's banging at the door. And so like 2 of them or 3 of them rushed over there, and everyone's like freaking out.
One of them went outside, actually. One of them went outside, and the other one stayed back in here.
So the windows were like closed by like these cheapy blinds. So you saw all these lights, and there's a white van.
One of the counselors went outside when the banging started, and then the other one came back in, and we're all sitting there like, okay, that's weird. Then all of a sudden, we heard, it was just, everyone started getting more like freaked out, and we're sitting here, there's like, the bunk beds are really like, they're like twin beds, they're really small. I'm sitting there squatting on the floor, just like, at like sitting there on the floor, and everyone's on cause my bed, everyone was sitting on my bed, and Jessica's bed, my friend Jessica's was like right next to us, and everyone was sitting on the bed, and there were like 2 of us sitting on the floor, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, you hear a thud on the door, and you hear screaming,
and you hear all this
and you see lights come on outside, shine through the windows, and you hear banging and screaming, and all of a sudden, like, one of the ladies, like, opens it, like, the one lady that stayed in here went and opened the door, and she's like, no, close the door, and they're screaming, all kinds of screeching.
Yeah, and then it sounded like the window broke, but I don't think it did.
No, it didn't, but there was a whole bunch of banging, and then all the girls that were on my bed, they literally, Jessica and Sarah, they grabbed their shoes and ran to the back of the middle back of the cabin, and everyone was huddled on like 3 beds, and then some girls went to the bathroom, but I sort of stayed there. I was like, what? I sort of like looked at my shoes, I was like, should I grab them? I put like one on, and then everyone had I sort of like got them on, they sort of walked that way. 2 ladies come back in screaming, and then they just stop and start laughing, and we're sitting there like...
I was in the bathroom, I was in one of the showers eating a Twix and Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Like, it scared everyone so much because it was like it was really late at night. Everyone was tired after the service, and the service we had at the church camp, everyone was sort of emotional from that. There were some girls that started crying after the thing. There was one girl that walked out, she got off one of the beds and was like, I almost peed my pants. We went back and all sat in our bed. So there's one girl, we sat down and she was still in her bed.
She slept through the whole thing. Like, the banging was so loud.
There was like rapid stuff, and there was like roaring engine.
We woke her up and we were like playing it off like it was still real.
Yeah.
And so she thought it was all about ISIS, and then she got all mad.
It was funny because Rachel went over there. Rachel started talking to her. She's like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what happened, whatever. And the girl like looked over at me, and I went and sat next to Rachel, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it like really happened. It was so scary. But she said one thing about one girl saying it was about ISIS, and then that girl started, she was half asleep. And so she like focused on one thing.
She got mad at everybody.
Yeah, she got mad.
And she screeched, and she was like,
she's like,
oh yeah, she was like, I'm gonna tell my mom about that. She's like, don't you dare! Even the adults were laughing.
Yeah, even though, but I mean, we sort of felt bad, but we were sort of like, I know, it was funny, and we're sitting there like, dude, you just slept through that whole thing. She was just like yelling at everyone, telling them it was not funny. And one of the counselors felt so bad that she literally like got on top. The girl was just sitting there laying in her bed like just seething at everyone, like seething anger. And the counselor was like, are you okay? She thought she was joking, like faking, trying to make the counselors feel bad. And so she like literally climbed on, like got in the bed on sideways with her, and then climbed on top of her and was like pulling back we're sitting there like, are you okay? And then the other girl just was like, it's not funny, and then the counselor was like, okay, whatever. And the later
she wouldn't even talk to anybody for the rest of the week, pretty much.
Yeah, and the counselor, the other thing she did, the girl got up and like went to the bathroom or something, and the counselor got in her bed and like pulled the covers over her face, and it looked like there was no one in it. And that girl pulled back the covers,
and she just walked away.
She walked away. She opened the covers. She's like, great, and like walked away. That was like the big camp prank, and everyone was sort of like, yeah. We hoped you enjoyed this story time with us. But anyway, bye.